Hello, St. Paul School. I'm Cameron.
And I'm Megan. Today is Friday, September 9th, 2011.
All right, let's get straight to Tyler with the pledge and prayer with Miss Sir's second grade class.
Say your names.
I'm Jack. I'm Emily. I'm Amber. I'm Marcia.
It is the mission of St. Paul School to help its students grow spiritually, educationally, socially, physically, and emotionally. May each day bring us closer to Jesus. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father in heaven, I give you today all that I think and do and say. I give you the good times as well as the bad, the times when I'm happy, the times when I'm sad. Fill me with grace and make me strong. May I make good choices all day long. Amen.
So we can all pray for us.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Wow, thanks guys. We have some announcements from Mr. Mayor now. The pennant race is on, and Tuesday, September 13th is our Grand Slam Early Bird Day, and we will be selecting our All-Star player. How can you be an All-Star?
Our all-star player must bring in $75 for our early bird raffle on Tuesday. The lucky player's name will be drawn out of the early bird raffle. The winning all-star will select his all-star team for a limo ride and pregame party at DQ this Friday on September 13th after school.
So kick the dust off your cleats and get your nominations from your family, friends, and neighbors. Don't forget, you have to bring in $75 for your chance to be this year's Grand Slam St. Paul Panther All-Star of the Year.
Go Panthers!
Champion Rider Weekly Raffle Ticket winner is Leah from Mrs. Hart's class. Please go directly to the office after announcements.
All right, and now here's the birthdays for today. We have today, Friday, Andrew from Miss Maloney's class, and Skylar
Happy birthday to everybody.
All right, now let's head over to Abby with the weather for today.
Right now it's 62 degrees, high of 73, with scattered thunderstorms. And tomorrow it's high 78 with scattered thunderstorms.
Thanks, Abby. That was great.
And here's David with the sports update.
The Reds play tonight against the Rockies at 8:40. It is an away game. The Bengals play against Cleveland at 1. It is their first season game. The Saints played last night against Green Bay and lost 42-34.
Go Bengals, Reds, and Saints.
I wonder what hidden talents we found for today's show.
Well, today we have Alex and Paige. Thanks, Alex.
But wow, those talents were fantastic.
You know what else is fantastic? Today's lunch.
That's right. Today we're having cheese pizza, carrot sticks, with dip, pretzels, and peaches.
Okay, now we have something to share with you.
In case you didn't know, this Sunday is the 10th anniversary of 9/11.
Yes, it is. September 11, 2001 was when a group of terrorists took control of 2 airplanes and crashed them into the Twin Towers in New York City.
They also crashed one plane into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. They were going to crash another plane, but the passengers fought back and the plane crashed into an open field, so no one was hurt.
Sadly, thousands of people died on that devastating day. But we did learn that American citizens are willing to give their lives to save others. Hundreds of firefighters and police officers did just that on 9/11.
Also, America has learned that they can get through any tragedy. We also have a lot more security today, so that hopefully something like 9/11 will never happen again. We have gotten through this terrible time, but we still remember it as a major event in American history.
Because of this, we have decided to do something special here on WSPS today. After the video, please take a moment of silence to remember all those affected by the terrible events of 9/11. Don't forget, there is also a prayer service preceded over by Bishop Boys this Sunday at the Cathedral, remembering 9/11.
The day, it was a very beautiful day. The skies were blue, some clouds, and at that time, it was my first year teaching here at St. Paul School. My students were in specials, so I was in a small meeting with Mrs. Ayler and Ms. Connerman, a former teacher here at St. Paul School, and we were stunned to watch the news report and see the airplane crash into the World Trade Center. Just total disbelief is the feeling that I had. It was quite a scary day.
Every time I see an airplane in a bright blue sky, I remember the plane hitting the second building. I remember being here at school when the attacks occurred, and one of the teachers had the TV on in her classroom, and how quiet it got, and how you had a feeling of helplessness and horror as you watched what was happening.
And they can't take that away.
Well, I remember that I was here teaching, and one of the mothers was here helping me, and she came in and told me about what happened. And I remember how sad I felt. I also know that there were several kids who I know would have been worried if they had found out about it, because their mothers were at meetings and things like that, so I tried not to tell them. And I know the next day one of the boys said to me, "Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us?" And I thought, well, it's better for parents to reassure them that they were all right. So I know it's a terrible tragedy, and I hope it never, ever happens.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of
Day of
Tennessee.
9/11.
I was here at school.
What was the reaction on your face when you found out about the planes?
I don't think I could believe it. I think I was just really not believing it first.
What was your memories about it?
Fear. My children lived all over the United States, and I just wondered how they'd be affected, and I was worried about the kids at school, how to get them home. It was just all kinds of being afraid of things.
I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
On the day of 9/11.
Oh gosh, the day of September 11th, I was actually a senior at Xavier University, and I was living with my 7 roommates, one of which was Miss Kelly. And the night before, we had a party at Xavier celebrating Father Graham's inauguration as our new president. So they gave us 9/11 off, and we got to sleep in. So I woke up to my roommates calling me over and over and over again, leaving me messages, telling me to wake up. I had to turn on the TV, and I just kept ignoring them because I was sleeping, until my roommate finally came in and woke up me and Miss Kelly and physically made us watch the TV. And we saw, when we turned the TV on, the second plane was flying into one of the Twin Towers. And from then on, for I think like the next month, that's all we did was watch the news. I actually had to work that day, and I worked at Xavier in special events, and when I went to work, that's all we did, was watch the TV. So, and we were just kind of just shocked by the whole thing. We didn't talk, we just watched the TV the whole time.
And how would that affect you?
It actually was a little scary because my dad at the time was traveling and he was in Texas, and they canceled his flight, and he was stuck in Texas for a couple of days. And it was just nerve-wracking watching everyone on the news who were affected by it, and then knowing that people had to get on planes and fly, and it just made us very scared and a little anxious.
Thank you very much.
And I had to start again with just my children and my wife.
So Miss S., what do you remember about 9/11?
9/11. I was in Texas. It was an hour earlier in Texas, so it was like a little after 8. And I was getting Dylan ready for kindergarten. And Evan and Colin were 18 months old. And I had the Today Show on. And a plane hit the first tower, and I'm kind of watching, and I'm like, someone had an accident. A pilot maybe fell asleep. That was my first take on everything. And a few minutes later, a second plane hit the other tower, and I realized that it was terrorists pretty quickly. And that I had no idea where my husband was. He was traveling, and it was a very panicked hour until I could figure out where he was. And I didn't know whether to send Dylan to school. It was very scary. And then we also found out very quickly that there was another plane out there, you guys know all of this now, that was flying around. We didn't know where President Bush was. It was a very emotional morning. And I remember my next door neighbor coming over, who also had a little boy that was Colin and Evan's age. And we just hugged each other because we did not know what else was going to happen that day. And that is what I remember about 9/11, and being extremely relieved when Mr. S called, and he was in an airport somewhere, and he was fine. And you guys know they shut down all the airports. No one could fly for a few days. So anyway, I can't believe that was 11 years ago, but 10 years ago rather. It's math. I'm not good at math. And so there you have it, guys.
From the lakes of Minnesota.
I was actually right across the street from the Pentagon. I was in Washington, D.C. for a conference with one of my old jobs. So the hotel we were staying at was actually right across the street from the Pentagon. So when the plane hit the Pentagon, I actually it almost felt like an earthquake.
What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was I wasn't really sure what was going on. I kind of didn't know what was happening because we were like on the 13th floor, so I felt like maybe it was, the wind or something. I didn't know. And then I heard some people screaming down the hall saying, "We're being attacked, we're being attacked." And so I went outside and looked. There was this big picture window at the end of the hall, and there was smoke coming out of the Pentagon, and people were running and screaming, and I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I'd never experienced anything like that before in my life.
I love this land. God bless the USA. But I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.